Hi there, it's Kevin Benedict, SMAC Analyst. I want to thank you for joining us today. What does SMAC mean? Social, mobile, analytics, and cloud. Again, thank you for joining us today. You know, one of the fascinating things to me about what we can do in this world of blogging and the internet is the fact that I recorded this several days ago. You're seeing this several days after I recorded it. I was able to post this to a blog, schedule it in advance, fly overseas, and then on schedule, this automatically gets posted and you get to view it. And not only can you view it, if you're local in Boise, Idaho, you can view this worldwide. That is an example of digitization. Digitization, which means I don't have to be where you are in order to see this. Whole different business models can be created because of this. Machines can schedule events, digits, the bits and bytes that make up this video is sent out on a calendar automatically to post. Once it posts, my RSS feed can then automatically email people, automatic Twitter people, all of that automatically on a schedule when I'm not even here anymore. What is the subject of this video today? We're going to be talking about what do you need to know when you're getting ready and preparing for an enterprise mobility project. We're going to cover 17 points here together today. We'll do this very quickly here. Number one, do you have an existing mobile enterprise application? Why do you want to know that? Is there anything you can leverage from what you've done before? Do you already have a mobile platform that you can use to build all your apps on? Is it reusable or is it purpose-built just for one app? Is it all custom? It's a good question to ask because today you're not looking at just building one purpose-built app. Most organizations are looking at dozens and dozens of applications which are going to need to be built over the upcoming years. So that means even though there's going to be some upfront cost, your mobile platform, your mobile device management, your security systems, and all that kind of stuff, maybe an upfront cost, you can spread that over many, many applications. Remember that. It doesn't all have to go to one person's budget. Now, I know that's kind of hard because one business unit may have a priority application that requires all the stuff, but really, let's be realistic. Don't make them pay for everything themselves. Now, number two, what kind and for what business process? Number two, what kind and for what business processes are you supporting now? Have you already done a service order or a service ticket application in another business unit? Can you use what you've done in other business processes? Are there lessons learned from other business processes that you can apply here? That's an important thing to know and take into consideration for your mobile project. Number three, do you have an existing mobile strategy and policy that you need to take into consideration as you're developing this project? If not, great. Some companies allow you to have autonomy within your site, within your business unit to go out and do what you want. Others have corporate standards that must be considered across all projects. Number four, do you have plans or demands for new kinds of mobile applications other than this one? Again, you can spread the costs out over many if you're going to need that. Also, if you're going to have upcoming projects that are barcode heavy or location-based heavy or they have turn-by-turn navigation built into them. Well, let's leverage what you're doing in Project 13 on Project 27 as well. Just know that categorize some of the skills that you need and some of the features you have in the different applications so you can use them across the board. Take those into consideration. Number five, what business processes are you considering mobilizing? Are you going to do Salesforce automation? Are you going to do just service tickets? Are you going to do proof of delivery? Are you going to do email notifications when your drivers are close? Just what is it? Let's list them all out, know what's coming. So again, you can do whatever you can today to reduce the total cost of ownership of all the applications that will eventually be in your inventory. Number six, what business units or departments are involved? That's a lot of reasons to ask that. One is budgets. Is this a corporate project or departmental? Again, if it's corporate and you can leverage it across the world, then you can start looking at using multiple budgets to support this project. If it's just one niche business process in one geographic area, again, you have to consider that because your budget might be a lot smaller in that case. What are your priorities for mobilizing business processes? What's interesting here is you may have a business process with only 10 people involved, but it's a very, very high ROI for the 10 people. But you have a mid-level or a mid-level ROI from a number of other apps, but they're going to be used across 5,000. So do the math. A mid-level, a mid-priority app across 5,000, the ROI might be in the millions, where a high-priority app for 10 people, even though it's a high-priority app for those 10, the ROI is just not there. So you need to factor that in as well. Number 8, how many people will be using this mobile application? Again, if this is going to be used by 5,000 people, then you can start spreading some cost out per user at a very low amount as opposed to those 10 in the high priority project. Just a consideration there. Number 9, what are the roles and responsibilities of the mobile user? And why are we asking that? I built a number of applications within my teams over the years where the manager has a different view of the data than the guy in the field. So you may have a regional manager has this view, a vice president has this view, and the CEO wants this view. Maybe the same applications, maybe different applications, but different views of the data just needs to be considered if you have different roles there. You may not want the guy in the field to be able to see everybody's data. It's just not smart to do that. Number 10, what are your expected ROIs? And I mean, that's important in everything. Although it's a question that comes up less and less today because people just understand that mobility is there. Mobility is a requirement. You're going to need it anyway, whether the ROI is $1 million or $2 million, you still need it. Number 11, what is your timeline desired? You know, what's important here is that you have some apps that'll take just a week or two to build or even a day to build. Others are going to take 6 months to build because of what you're trying to accomplish with them. You just need to know that so as you're laying those out, you know what timelines, you know where to place them on your timelines there. Number 12, do you have business process diagrams and database schemas and the whole workflow? That really helps. If you already have databases in the back end that you need to populate and you already know what information you need to share, what information you need to collect, and you have the business process diagram, then building the user interfaces around that's a lot faster if you have those available. So just remember that. Number 13, what is your 1 to 3 year roadmap for enterprise mobility? Again, I'm going to go back to that point. If you know you're going to ultimately have 48 mobile applications, then don't just apply all your platform and security upfront cost to that one app. You know you're going to be spreading that cost out over a lot of apps, and you can factor that in up front. What back-end applications or ERPs involved? Again, very important because a lot of the ERPs already have extensions out and mobile apps that come with them. And rather than building it yourself, you can use those. But if it's necessary or if there's a justification, go out and build your own, of course. But just make sure you're already looking out there. And if you have something, if you're trying to support IBM, well, they're going to have their mobile-first solutions already available out there. Are those more practical to use than trying to build it yourself? Just something you should know. And if you're going to be connecting to 18 back-end systems with one app, that's going to be a lot of work. Just know about it up front. Factor that into it. Number 15, what are your preferred integration strategies? Do you have a service-oriented environment? Do you have APIs already set up? Are you going to go through NetWeaver? Just what is that so you can factor that into all of your plans if there's already a preferred integration strategy. And also, if you're going to go out and choose mobile development environments, make sure that they're compatible with your preferred integration methodology. So define all those things and then line them up, of course. Number 16, what are your mobile device and smartphone preferences? Look, if you have an RFID heavy solution, you're going to need a different device than if you're just using smartphones. If you're going to be barcode scanning 1,000 times a day, you need to have a different device with different kinds of battery requirements than if you're going to use a smartphone. If you're out in the cold and wet and mud, again, that's a different requirement. Can a smartphone work, or do you need a tablet or a smartphone? What are the form factors that you're required to have for your particular working environment? Can you, in fact, support a bring your own device environment, or are you happy to just issue Microsoft phones or Blackberries, or are you standardizing around Android or the iOS environment? Just know that up front because that's going to play into whether you're going to build HTML hybrids, native, what work is going to be behind to not only design and develop those, but also to support those in years in the future. Number 17, the last one we're going to cover today. Do you want to buy off-the-shelf mobile solutions, develop in-house, or contract with a third party? Bottom line, enterprise mobility apps are here for the rest of your career. So whatever you build, somebody's got to support it every day, every week, every month, every year going forward. You know how often mobile apps get updated. Somebody's going to be on a desk, upgrading at all times for every app. So you need to factor that. I talked recently to a CIO that said for every mobile app they deploy to a large number of people, they factor one person will remain behind just keeping it updated and supported. Factor that. If you have 30 mobile apps, that's 30 people continually updating and upgrading those apps for the next round. Factor that. Maybe not all apps are going to require that, but that was a rule of thumb that a recent meeting I had with the CIO was all about. With that, I want to thank you so much for joining. There's a lot to think about here, isn't there?